SRIRAM's IAS, serving the nation since 1985. Ab offline, hoya online, we are the lifeline.
Hello friends, welcome to SRIRAM's IAS. Welcome to another video of this current affairs series. Today we are going to study another important topic, right to residence. Now, something has happened. A Bangladeshi personnel has been detained in Indira Gandhi International Airport by the authorities, and one of his relative has moved to the High Court of Delhi claiming that he has been retained illegally, and he has went to the court under article 226, which gives a fundamental right, which also gives a power, sort of right to a citizen to move to the court directly, and he has asked the court to invoke habeas corpus. Now let us dive into this particular issue and see what is the issue. So we have a slide here which says that Delhi court has ruled on right to residence. Foreigners, now this is one of the part of the ruling where it says that foreigners cannot claim right to reside in India. They can come and they can reside in India, but they cannot claim to be here, because the fundamental right of Article 19 Clause 1 Subclause E, the fundamental right to settle and reside within the territory of India, has not been extended to foreigners. It has only been extended to the citizens, and that is the reason why right to reside cannot be claimed by a foreigner. So Azal Chakma, this is the person who has been detained in the airport by the authorities. A writ petition was filed under Article 226. 226 gives you the power to move to the to the High Court directly, and similar power to move to the Supreme Court has been given under Article 32 of the Constitution. Okay, so this the uncle of this person has moved to the court under Article 226, also invoking Section 482 of the Criminal Procedure Code, where a habeas corpus has been filed. The challenge is the illegal detention of this person called Azmal Chakma. So the petitioner has said that Azal was born and educated in India, and he has multiple Indian identity documents. This is also one thing. Now, important thing is, what is this habeas corpus? Now we know habeas corpus is a legal instrument which empowers people to seek relief from unlawful detention. Okay, if some authority, any authority, such as police, it could be ED, it could be CBI, anyone, even private citizen for that matter, if a private citizen also detains somebody, he has to be produced within 24 hours in front of the court, and if it is not done, then the person can directly move to the High Court under Article 226 and to the Supreme Court under Article 32, where this detention can be challenged by filing a writ petition of habeas corpus. Okay, I hope you understood this important thing. And then the court orders to bring that person in front of the court in order to know the legality of his detention. So what was the ruling of the court here? When this person approached the High Court, what was the ruling of the court? The court said that Government of India has absolute and unlimited power, absolute and unlimited power to expel foreigners. That simply means if any foreigner is living in this country, a person who is not the citizen of India is living inside this country in the territory of India, the central government has absolute power to expel that person, to ask that person to move out of this country. Same thing cannot be done with the citizen. Why? Because of the fundamental rights available to the citizens of this country. If a fundamental right of a citizen is infringed, the person can directly approach Supreme Court under Article 32, to the High Court under Article 226, but a foreigner cannot do so. He can only do so in few cases, such as infringement of Article 14, infringement of Article 20 and 21. These articles are some article which has been extended to foreigners as well, but all the fundamental rights are available to citizens. Then what else court said? Fundamental right of foreigners are limited to Article 21. Then the court said that foreigners cannot claim residence under Article 19(1)(e) of the Constitution, which gives the fundamental right to reside and settle in any part of the country. What is the rationale of the court? That simply means on what basis has the court given this judgment? The court has argued that Foreigners Act of 1946 gives unlimited power to the government to expel foreigners. Similarly, Foreigners Order of 1948 also restricts, it gives the government the authority to restrict the movement of foreigners. Supreme Court ruling in Hans Muller of Nuremberg versus Superintendent Presidency Jail. It's a very old case of 1955, but this case, it was propounded that foreigners cannot claim a right to reside in India under Article 19(1)(e) because this is only available to citizens. This is something which you have to understand. For your prelims examination, it is of paramount value to understand which of the fundamental rights are available to citizens and which are the fundamental rights which are available to citizens and to the foreigners, both of them. The government's power to expel foreigner is absolute. We have already seen it. Then comes the constitutional provision. So a little bit explanation of what is Article 19(1)(e) is given. It gives the fundamental right to every citizen to reside and settle in India. To reside in India and to settle in India. It states that all citizens shall have the right to reside and settle in any part. Okay, in any part of the country. Of course, no right is absolute and there are always reasonable restrictions applied. We will see what is that. It applies to citizens only, okay, not to the foreigners. Subjected to reasonable restriction for public interest. So the reasonable restriction, again, no right is absolute and there are always several restrictions which have been imposed on the fundamental right. So what is the reasonable restriction imposed on the fundamental right of residing and settling? Public interest. So this is the restriction, which simply means in public interest a government can stop a person from residing in any particular part of the country. Protection of scheduled tribes. The areas where scheduled tribes are living, if the city dwellers start to go in those areas and start to live there, then it will become a problem. So this is another reasonable restriction which is imposed on the fundamental right of residing and settling in any part of the country, that wherever scheduled tribes are there, your right to reside in those parts are not absolute and they can be managed by the government. Foreign nationals cannot claim this right. This is important. Foreign nationals cannot claim this right. Now, foreign national can certainly claim Article 21 because India is also a law-abiding country and Article 21 gives the right to life and personal liberty. Liberty and life are very important topic. That is the reason why these rights have been extended to foreigners also. It applies to both citizens and foreigners. Foreigners can demand protection from unlawful detention and unfair treatment within the territory of India under Article 21. Now, there are several global practices when it comes to settlement, when it comes to residing in a particular country. Now, these global practices, these global rules and the global regulations relates to both the people who are living within the country and the people who are not the citizen of that country. So first is Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Article 13 of this declaration says that there is right to freedom of movement and residence within the border of each state. That simply means it's a human right. If a person has to move anywhere in the country, he has the right to move. Now, it does not matter whether the person is a foreigner or a citizen. It has not been clarified here, but if the person is a citizen, the person has right. Although the right is not absolute, there are reasonable restrictions, but at the same time, foreigners they also have a sort of right, but their right is limited. In the case of foreigners, the absolute authority to stop them from movement or to expel them lies in the hand of government. Okay, UN Habitat advocates sustainable settlement and housing rights, and Office of the High Commissioner of Human Rights monitors the implementation of the right to adequate housing under international human rights standard. So for our prelims point of view, it is very important for you to understand that Article 19 only extends to the citizens of this country and not to the foreigners. Article 21 is given to the foreigners as well. Thank you very much for joining me. Have a nice day.
SRIRAM's IAS, serving the nation since 1985. अब offline हो या online, we are the lifeline.